Australia shouldn't exist the way it does. It's wider than the moon. It has lakes that turn bright pink, rivers that flow backwards, mountains older than almost every living species, deserts bigger than entire countries, and a rainforest older than the Amazon. And the craziest part? Almost nobody knows the geography behind any of it. So today, we're breaking down 50 geography facts about Australia that sound completely fake, but every single one is true. 1. Australia is wider than the moon. From west to east, Australia stretches roughly 4,000 kilometers. The moon is only 3,474 kilometers wide. If you place the moon on top of Australia, the continent would stick out on both sides. It's the first sign of how massive this island continent actually is. 2. It's the flattest continent on Earth. Australia has the least elevation change of all continents. Thousands of kilometers go by without any major mountains. Why? Because the land is incredibly ancient, so old that erosion has worn it down to a giant plateau. 3. Yet it has some of the oldest mountains on the planet. The McDonnell Ranges in Central Australia are around 600 million years old. They are so ancient that what were once towering mountains have been sanded down to rolling ridges. 4. Australia was once connected to Antarctica. Millions of years ago, Antarctica and Australia were literally the same landmass as part of Gondwana. The environments were tropical, full of forests, lakes, and massive rivers. Then, the continent split, sending Australia drifting into the warm latitudes it sits in today. 5. Australia is still moving, fast. The entire continent drifts north at 7 centimeters per year. That may not sound like much, but it's one of the fastest continental movements on Earth. Australia's GPS coordinates must be recalibrated roughly every decade because the whole landmass shifts. 6. 70% of Australia is desert or semi-desert. Most Australians never see their own interior. From above, the outback looks like another planet, endless red plains, salt lakes, and remote mountain chains. 7. The Great Victoria Desert is bigger than the entire United Kingdom. It's over 420,000 square kilometers, vast, silent, scorching, yet filled with life adapted to conditions harsher than most deserts on Earth. 8. Australia has the longest fence on the planet. The Dingo Fence stretches 5,614 kilometers, built to keep dingoes away from farmland. It's longer than the distance from London to Moscow and back. 9. Australia is home to the world's largest sand island. K'gari, formerly Fraser Island, is 122 kilometers long and made almost entirely of sand. It even supports rainforests growing directly on sand dunes, something scientists still can't fully explain. 10. It has the tallest stabilized dune system in the world. Morton Island's dunes tower over 280 meters high. Imagine an 80-story building made of sand. 11. Australia has naturally bright pink lakes. Lake Hillier is permanently bubblegum pink due to halophilic algae and bacteria. It's not light reflection, and it doesn't fade. Its color stays vivid even if removed from the lake. 12. Australian rivers can flow backwards. The Murray-Darling Basin is so flat that flooding can reverse entire river systems. The water simply goes wherever gravity decides that day. 13. Australia's largest lake usually doesn't exist. Lake Eyre is normally a dry salt pan the size of a small country, but once a decade, when heavy rains hit the outback, it becomes a spectacular inland sea teeming with birds. 14. The Great Barrier Reef is the largest living structure on Earth. Bigger than Italy, visible from space, and containing more species than entire continents. It includes over 900 islands and 2,900 individual reefs. 15. Australia also has the world's longest fringing reef. Ningaloo Reef hugs the coastline of Western Australia. You can literally wade offshore and snorkel above coral within 10 seconds. 16. Australia has more coastline than the United States. With over 25,000 kilometers of coastline, it wraps around the continent like a giant fractured ring. 17. Yet it has fewer people than the state of Texas. It's a continent with huge empty regions and extremely dense coastal population pockets. 18. 90% of Australians live within 50 kilometers of the coast. The interior is so dry and harsh that major cities simply wouldn't survive there. 19. The outback is bigger than Western Europe. It spans millions of square kilometers with towns so far apart you can drive 500 kilometers and see no one. 20. Some Australian towns are underground. Coober Pedy gets so hot, over 45 degrees Celsius for weeks, that residents build their homes under the earth. Entire neighborhoods, churches, and hotels are dug into rock to stay cool. 21. Australia has the world's straightest road. The air highway includes a 146-kilometer section without a single bend, just a hypnotic, endless horizon. 22, and the straightest piece of railway on Earth. The Trans-Australian Railway has a 478-kilometer stretch without any curves. It's so straight engineers use it for calibration tests. 23. Australia once had a lake bigger than England. Ancient Lake Mega Air spread across multiple modern states. It has since dried into the salt pans and deserts of today. 24. Australia contains the world's oldest tropical rainforest. The Daintree rainforest, at 180 million years old, predates the Amazon by tens of millions of years. It contains species that exist nowhere else on Earth, true evolutionary fossils. 25. The Australian Alps get more snow than Switzerland. Hard to believe, but winter storms dump huge amounts of snow on the range. Australia actually has a well-developed ski industry. 26. Tasmania has the cleanest air ever recorded. Winds blow straight from Antarctica, unpolluted by any landmass. Scientists measure Tasmania's air as the global standard for clean atmosphere. 27. Australia has 10,000 plus beaches. Visit one per day, and it takes almost 30 years to finish. 28. It's the only continent where the mainland has no active volcanoes. But this is misleading. 29. Because it has an enormous underwater volcano chain bigger than the Rockies. The Tasmantid Seamount chain runs for over 2,000 kilometers along the seafloor. 30. Australia also has the largest single volcano on Earth. Mount Augustus is so huge it dwarfs Uluru. It's often mistaken for an entire mountain range. 31. Australia is home to two of the world's largest monoliths. Uluru is famous, but Mount Augustus is 2.5 times larger. 32. Australia has more venomous snakes than non-venomous ones. This ties back to geography. Isolation plus stable climate allowed venomous species to dominate. 33. Many Australian rivers disappear into the ground. They seep into porous rock or evaporate completely, only returning during major rains. 34. Australia contains the oldest continually inhabited lands on Earth. Indigenous Australians have lived here for more than 65,000 years, surviving ice ages, megafauna, drought cycles, and rising seas. 35. The continent barely erodes. Its tectonic stability means Australia's landscape is ancient and preserved, almost a geological time capsule. 36. Lake Eyre is 15 meters below sea level. It forms Australia's lowest point and turns into a surreal white desert when dry. 37. Mount Kosciuszko is Australia's highest point, and it's tiny. At only 2,228 meters, it's shorter than many ski hills around the world. 38. Australia has a permanent standing wave in Shark Bay. Unique sandbars and tides create a wave that rises but never breaks. 39. And a granite formation that looks like a frozen tsunami. Wave rock is 110 meters long, shaped over millions of years by wind and water into a perfect wave. 40. The Gibson Desert contains millions of polished stones. Wind erosion buffed them to smooth, marble-like perfection. 41. Whitehaven Beach has some of the purest sand on Earth. At 98% silica, the sand is bright white, ultra-soft, and never gets hot. 42. The Finca River is possibly the oldest river on the planet. It may be 300 to 340 million years old, older than the dinosaurs and older than the Himalayas. 43. Blue Lake changes color every year. Located in Mount Gambier, it shifts from steel gray to electric blue due to mineral and temperature changes. 44. Australia has enormous sinkholes caused by collapsed volcanic chambers. The Umferston sinkhole is now a lush fairy tale garden. 45. Australia once hosted super rivers. These ancient rivers carved huge valleys long before humans appeared, and then vanished due to climate shifts. 46. The world's largest cattle station is in Australia. 47. Some Australian forests grow in perfect rings. 48. A valley older than the Grand Canyon exists in Australia. The Herculean Valley predates the Colorado River by hundreds of millions of years. 49. Northern Australia contains the largest tropical savanna on Earth. Bigger than all protected savanna regions in Africa combined, and mostly untouched by development. 50. And finally, Australia once had giant man-eating birds. The Lake Calabana fossils include Dromornis stertoni, a 3-meter-tall, 500-kilogram bird. Think of an ostrich the size of a horse with the bite force of a hyena. Australia is not just a country. It's a continent of extremes, older than most of Earth's land, stranger than fiction, full of ancient forests, monstrous deserts, massive reefs, vanishing rivers, and landforms that simply do not exist anywhere else. It is, in every sense, a world of its own. If you think Earth is predictable, Australia is the exception. If you made it this far, you clearly love discovering the strange side of our world, so make sure to subscribe. And if you want to go even deeper, check out the next video on screen. Trust me, it's even crazier than this one. Thanks for watching all the way through. If you want more stories like this, make sure to subscribe and continue with the next video right here.